All right, thanks for tuning in. You know, Roma, have you made any resolutions this year?
I have. I'm usually not like someone to say resolutions. I usually like to have a list of goals, but I narrowed it down to two things, Paul.
Okay,
I want to cook more.
Okay.
And I want to learn how to sew. That was on last year's list as well.
Those are really good. I usually don't make resolutions, but I like your idea of goals. I love that.
Well, Paul, that's what it's all about. We want to bring you guys a lot of motivation for this year. I know that our audience as well has a lot of goals, so you guys need to head over to our Facebook page and share them. But you know, we want to make sure that you can follow through. And Paul, I'm walking on over to some really great help right now. I think this is somebody that our audience is going to be very grateful that we have on the show to help us get guidance and reach those goals. We have licensed clinical psychologist, Dr. Jamie Guerra. This is the time. Listen, we want to kick off the show with making sure that people just simply don't lose sight of what they're going for, right?
Right.
So what are some things that people can do to make these resolutions or goals just more attainable?
Right. So what I would say is that we want to be sure that people set themselves up for success. So you were talking about having these long list of goals. The actual tip is to just focus on 2 to 3 things that are attainable. The easiest way to do this is to write this down. So when we write things down, we are starting a self-reflection process. So when we talk about goals, and this is something psychologists would say and think about, is when we're able to achieve 1 or 2, it sort of generalizes to other areas of our life. So we're asking ourselves, you know, how are these changes that I'm working towards going to impact me in a positive way? What is my why? So if you're somebody that says, you know, most people have fitness goals and they say, I'm going to be in the best shape of my life, you know, or, you know, I'm going to be in great shape. I'm going to look a certain way. So what we would say is, let's be specific, and let's say something like that would look more attainable if you say, I'm going to run a 10K in 6 months.
So give yourself specific goals underneath that main goal, maybe like fitness, or for me, cooking. So what does that mean? 3 times a week, every night a week? I don't know how you mamas do it. I know there's a lot of you, including you, who cook every night, and I'm just so inspired by that. But just making them really like realistic, I guess is the word.
Right. So sometimes people will use SMART goals, and what you're talking about is they're specific, measurable, attainable, realistic. We also want to incorporate into those goals any challenges that we may,
face when along the journey, because it's not all smooth sailing right away.
Right.
Sometimes, right?
Right. So another thing you mentioned, and I wanted to go ahead and feed off of that, is you want to write every step down. So when you're writing out a plan for each of your resolutions, you want to craft out every single thing, and you also want to think about any challenges that might come your way and incorporate that into your plan. So what that also does is it highlights, am I going to get through every step, and is it going to be flawless? No, that's not realistic. The realization what you're going to have in that self-reflection process is there's going to be some barriers, and that's okay. So you want to be flexible, you want to be patient, you want to be adaptable to whatever comes your way. So you mentioned you want to be cooking, so that means have a specific, you have to go to the grocery store, you have to have specific lists.
Making time for our goals as well. What if someone fails? You know, I think it's so easy to be discouraged right away when you're like, man, I didn't follow through, I just failed. It's okay though. I mean, this is real world. It's not like someone's judging you, or you're really only judging yourself, it seems like, at that point.
Exactly. Life happens all the time, all day, every day. And so when we talk about incorporating those challenges, you want to say, okay, I planned for this and I'm going to adapt. I'm going to push through and follow through. So if we go back to that 10K example, and I get an injury and it's interrupted with illness, I'm going to go through and follow through. This is part of life. Life happens all the time, all day, every day, and we roll with it, we go with it, we practice self-compassion, give ourselves grace, be patient, and just be flexible with those resolutions.
And I know you also wanted to mention to make sure you have someone who's there rooting for you or holding you accountable.
Right. So one of the things that has been found, because obviously the things I'm saying are going to be based on science and research, right? But one of the things that has been found to be the most useful is for you to share your goals with somebody that is like-minded. And what that does is it holds you accountable. Accountability partners are awesome. And so what that also does is it gives you an opportunity to put your mental health as a priority, because socializing with other people and sharing positive events and emotions with them is extremely important when it comes to achieving our goals.
I love it. I feel
just an
super
overall thing, you know?
super excited, super motivated. Dr. Jamie Guerra, how can people reach you if they have more questions or are interested in learning more about you?
Okay, so I'm on Psychology Today, and if you just put my name in there in the search, Jamie Guerra, I come up. My number is 210-429-6829. That's also listed on Google. So if you just do a Google search on me as well, I can be found there.
Well, Happy New Year to you. Thank you so much for helping us know that this is all doable as long as we just set our mind to it, and we now have a better pathway in how to get there. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Roma.
Definitely. And I think maybe now we can encourage Paul. Paul, come on, that seems like now maybe even if it has to do with making your lawn even more green, because I know that is something you're very particular about.
Oh, I love that, but you guys have inspired me. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to go big. I think this will be the year I write my book.
Hey, I'd buy it, Paul, as long
How's
as you
that?
sign it for us.
I definitely would do that. Yeah, no, that was great.